ओम सर्वधर्मस्थापकस्त्वं सर्वधर्मस्वरूपकः आचार्याणां महाचार्यो रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. Today we are entering the 8th and last chapter of this Sri Ramakrishna, the Great Master, as the spiritual teacher, first part. And the name of the chapter is very, very strange. The relation of the Master as the spiritual teacher with his own teachers. In the world, teacher-pupil relationship is fixed. Teacher is teacher, pupil is pupil. But in Thakur's case, he becomes the teacher of his teachers. Now some people, not understanding, not knowing, say that Sharad Maharaj has written this to glorify Thakur. Sharad Maharaj has already told us, we have read that in one place, that in Thakur's case, exaggeration is not possible at all. Thakur's things are so infinite that we can never exaggerate. So that is out of the question. Second objection we can meet when we come to that. That means Thakur had several gurus. Two main gurus is Bhairavi and Totapuri. Now about Bhairavi we can understand. She had not reached the ultimate. Very clear it is. And due to Thakur's company, she could understand this and went away for tapasya, for the further progression in spiritual life. But about Tatapuri, it is written by Saradananda Swamiji himself. Brahmagya Tota, Samadhi Rahasagya Tota, Jivan Mukta Tota. Then how Thakur will teach him? That is the question. I have to give a hint now. When we come to that, we'll see. Thotapuri's life had gone in such a way that he could become aware of Nirguna Brahma through Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Now people say when he attains Nirvikalpa Samadhi, he becomes all-knower. Okay, that may also be true. And in his life we see, he is going pilgrimage to pilgrimage. That means God's more presence or whatever he knows. But he has never given importance to that. And that is not Tatapuri's defect. That is the defect of all so-called Shankarites. All. Not Shankar's defect. Nor Shankar's immediate disciples' defect. But if there would have been no defect in the Shankarites, it was not necessary for Thakur to come again. Shankar has emphasized Nirguna Brahma, so much so that the Saguna Brahma has been thrown in dustbin almost. Though in his commentary we see that where the Saguna Brahma comes, he pays full respect to it. And he answers many questions with the help of Saguna Brahma, many questions. But the emphasis is very, very clear, as if Saguna is lower something, not something. That is the first point. And we are illumined about this by our supremely revered Holy Mother Sarda Devi. There is a passage. A disciple goes to her and asks her, Mother, is it not true that this speciality of this incarnation is Sarvadharma Samanvaya? Mother said, no. I did not see that he has made a plan that I will establish Sarvadharma Samanvaya. If you want speciality of this incarnation, I would say is Tyag. Such Tyag has never been seen or heard even. And then she said, what you say, my son, is also true. We'll find the link afterwards. In the case of all previous Mahapurushas, he has used the term Mahapurush. Some one aspect of God realization or one aspect of spiritual life was emphasized, due to which all other aspects became suppressed. That is Mother's analysis. She is not telling they suppressed. Emphasis that in all previous Mahapurushas, some particular aspect of spiritual life or Ishwaranubhuti has been emphasized, due to which all other aspects became suppressed. This time it has not happened so. Thakur has emphasized every aspect of God realization. That is Holy Mother's clear. And so, harmony of religions has been established. You understand? So when a Mahapurush emphasizes something, the future generations think that is the only truth. And this emphasis on Nirgun Brahma is very, very, very clear in Shankaracharya. I may add here, our old best Vedantis, you know in the order, next generation, other than Thakur's disciples. Swami Jagadananda, the translator of this. And Swami Yogatmananda, who is now in Providence, when he was in the training center, our late revered Atmasthanandaji, he was General Secretary at that time. And he used to talk to or take a class for the training center boys. And he told clearly, he learned everything from Jagdananji. And he used to tell that Jagdananji very clearly told him that the only difference between Shankar and Ramakrishna is that Shankar has emphasized Nirgun, which Thakur has not. You understand this point? Your Our dear Shuddhidan Swamiji asked me to talk on Shankaracharya. There is a wrong thought current, let me tell now here. I will take the name. He is influencing many people. And he says Shankara philosophy is different, Thakur's different. What you are asking? Name? No, he is talking such rotten things. He is telling that to understand Thakur, we have to go through Aurobindo. While Aurobindo has directly, vehemently criticized Thakur, Swamiji, Ramakrishna Mission, you see. One of our Vidya Mandir students, now is some big wig in South India, head of the philosophy department somewhere. He wrote an email to Shuddhidananji that we feel ashamed and this is influencing people. Why you should not do something? Shuddhidananji sent that, forwarded that email to me. And later on that man wrote to me also, email. Anyway. And he has given so many references. Anyway, I will not talk further on this point. My point is that Shankar's, I am quoting Jagadanandji, and that Swami says, he has not taken Jagadanandji's name perhaps, but other Vedantis, Direshananji and Gambiranji, all are wrong. Anyway, and he influences many people. Unfortunate. So, we discussed it, Shuddhanji and myself, that our duty, only 2 days back we were talking on this point again, that our duty is to tell what is the truth. We cannot lock the mouth of these people. What we can do is, from our side, tell the truth. Anyway. So because of this chapter, the question would come. So, all the so-called Shankarites, they emphasize Nirguna Brahma. To the exclusion of Saguna Brahma, we shall read that all here. And that Thakur corrected. And Totapuri accepted. That is the main part. Okay, now we shall enter the chapter. But the heading appears strange. And I told in nutshell what he did to Bhairavi and what he did to Totapuri. Some other things will come in between. Bhairavi had 2 disciples, Chandra and Girija. And they become illumined with the help of Thakur. That also will come. But this is the talk about the incarnation, remember. And another thing, there is a shloka we have to think of that. But in the first para, we'll meet something. You remember, when we read the preface, I told you the translation is wrong. Remember? Remember now? That Saradananda Swamiji says, from the days of his sadhana till he became well known, incidents of that time are mainly recorded here. While the translator or the editor, I don't know, And the latest translation by Chetananandji both contain this error. They say, after the completion of his sadhana, till he became famous. No. During his sadhana. And we have seen that up till now. Rani Rasmani, Mathur Babu, is that after his sadhana? And same thing now comes when his Guru is learning, is that after his sadhana? So the translation is wrong. Saradananda Swami has given a hint in that preface that I am not writing about a human being. I am writing about God, I am writing about incarnation. And that point he further emphasized in chapter 5, if you remember. Chapter 5, spiritual mood in youth. And there he says that we are not unnecessarily increasing the bulk. In the case of incarnation, the Guru Bhav is manifested even in childhood. But mainly there it starts like that. That the Guru Bhav started manifesting specially from the day he became the Pujari of Kali Temple. And next line he writes, that was the period of his sadhana. And he has described there in detail. With the example of this pumpkin and gourd, bottle gourd. That there are special creepers where the fruit comes first and then the flowers. So from them, the behavior like a siddha comes, then the sadhana is going on. Same thing is repeated in the first para of the 8th chapter. Now before we take that up, there is a shloka from the Gita. We will not meet this further in this volume or in the Guru Bhava. This is from the 15th chapter. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaisya sarvair ahameva vedyo vedanta veda videva chaham. Some fun came in my mind. Fun. We as children used to younger joke at some shlokas. Stove. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto. I am the stove. Stove on which we heat things. And in Marathi, in Bengali say chide upma, or in Bengali chide. In Marathi, what is the name you know? Common. We also using that. Poha. So, mattar smritir jnanam apohanam cha. See, poha is mentioned, stove is mentioned, like that we used to joke. Anyway, it's a purely joke. No, just I remember in childhood our play was like that. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaisya sarvair ahameva vedyo vedanta veda videva chaham. Bhagavan Shri Krishna is telling this. Huh? Yes. That was the joke. Stove, poha, chai. So, Bhagavan is telling this. And see what he is telling. I am sitting. Sannivishta means firmly sitting in the hearts of all. People have memory That faculty of memory is from me. Gyan, knowledge. Knowledge also is from me. Apohanam cha. That means the smriti goes away sometimes. The jnana goes away sometimes. That is also from me. Everything is from God. So smriti or jnana are from me. And the going away of smriti, going away of jnana also is from me. And through Vedas, what is known? I am known through all the Vedas. Vedantavid. And I am the knower of all the Vedantas. Vedanta Krut. Oh, not Ved. Vedesha Sarmaire Avame Vedyo Vedanta Krut. I have created the Vedanta. I have created all the Vedanta. Veda Videva Chaham. And the knower of the Vedas also I am. Through Vedas you will know me. I have made the Vedanta. And the object or the thing to be known through Vedas also I am. I am the knower of the Vedas. So, that is Incarnation's Leela. And that it will come here. That the knowledge of the big Jnani like Bhairavi and Dotapuri. That also was from me. And if something was missing, that also was due to me. And fulfillment came through Thakur. For that he has given this shloka. Another point let me tell here. Sri Ramakrishna himself has said, what Bhairavi and Tota taught me, if you use his language, Mother had shown me beforehand itself. Now by now we have come to understand clearly what is Madhur and what she is. So sorry. That means I knew that already. Then what these two gurus do? Tell me what these gurus do. Thakur got all the knowledge without reading scriptures. But we will not get like that. We require scriptures. And so, Thakur's every action is for humanity. So, Thakur underwent scriptural training. And some teacher or the other came to teach those scriptures. So, what Bhairavi did? She told him what the tantras say, number one. She is described as Uttara Sadhika, advanced Sadhika. She collected all the things required for the sadhana. She taught Thakur how to use them. This is described by Sadhana Swami. This is Guru. Technically, not that she taught him this, she taught him that. She told him what is in the tantras. She collected the things necessary for tantric sadhana. And she taught him how to use them. That is what it is. What Tota told him? Tota told him what is in the Vedanta. And when he told him to concentrate and make the mind formless, he could not do. Tota pitched his forehead and asked, concentrate here. Remember, please, nowhere it is written that Thakur did like that. Show me one place in the world where it is written Thakur did like that. We should never confuse. Totapari told him to do like that. What Thakur did? Thakur says, I use the sword of knowledge to cut that obstruction and go beyond. Where is that, bro? You understand now? So they were gurus because they taught him the scripture. Okay, now we proceed. First para. Guru Bhav Avatar Purush Diger Nijaswa Sampatti. Clearly. That mood of the Guru is their own property. Purve Boliyachi in the 5th chapter and in the beginning also. Jini Guru Haite Janma Grahan Koriyachen बाल्यावधि तार भीतर ए भावेर परिचय बेश पावा जाए पावा गया था कि बेश पावा गया था कि बाल्यावधि महापुरुष अवतार कुलेर तो कथा ही नहीं माने जारा गुरु हवे तादेर भीतर ओटा एक छिटे फोटे देखा जाए अवतार महापुरुषेर कुलेर तो कथा ही नहीं Oh, I went to Bengali. Because of the shloka we went to Bengali. We read the first para. The power of being a spiritual teacher is the special possession of the incarnations of God. We have already said, here the reference is given to the 5th chapter. Said that the indication of the power of being a spiritual teacher is found from childhood in those who are born to be such teachers. The case of the race of great soul, race means the group. It is not like Aryan race or Semitic race or European race. Oh, sorry, I read wrongly. Race. The case of the race of great soul. The case of the group of great souls. So you should read. Not separate race. As a group. Great souls, known as the incarnations of God, needs no mention. Any one of them who is born to establish a particular faith or doctrine in society is seen, as it were, established in that faith or doctrine from childhood. What is Thakur's doctrine? The harmony of all doctrines. It is true that the development of their bodies, senses, etc., and the favorable conditions of time, place, etc., may gradually appear and help that doctrine to be fully developed in them. Beautiful, his objective. For the full development, first is physical, biological growth. The body and the senses should be developed. Secondly, favorable circumstances should be there. But it is not a fact that it is these causes that produce this doctrine in them, in this life. We do not see that these body and all that are several. They are not the causes of that faith in them. It is as if it is born with them and they start their lives with this power. The cause of the birth of this power in their present life has not been traced in spite of 1,000 efforts because it is not there. It is found to be exactly so when one makes an inquiry regarding the birth of the power of spiritual teaching in the life of the master also, from general to particular. He says all gurus, especially incarnations, Thakur is one of them. One is surprised to discover the manifestation more or less of this power. Surprised because we do not expect it. During his childhood, youth, the time of his sadhana, and all other periods of his life. Clear. And however much one may ponder over it, one can by no means ascertain how this power first originated in his life. We have no desire to increase the volume of our book by mentioning here the events of his childhood. When he has mentioned that La Babu, that Pandit Sabha. But it will not be out of place here to make a present to the reader of the events that yet remain to be described concerning the master's youth and the time of his sadhana. So youth and sadhana, Rasmani Mathur Babu has described. But certain things remain to be described during youth and sadhana, during which time various kinds of divine spores were manifested through him as the spiritual teacher with Mathur Babu. So Mathur Babu thing has been described, but during the same period, some other things have been. The master was initiated by several teachers. First this comes, why require several teachers? Now the example Thakur himself is giving is of Avadut. You know the story of Avadut Dattatreya? It is famous that he had 24 gurus. But there we shall see, no guru has taught him. No guru has taught him. Seeing their life or some events, he learned. Guru has not taught him. No, none of the 24. Seeing some actions or their life, he has learned something. Because he is an avatar. So master also had several gurus. The master tried on many occasions to explain to us by adverting to the story of the world-renouncing Avadhuta spoken of in the Bhagavata. That though there should be one teacher only to initiate one in the mantra of one's chosen ideal, Diksha Guru in Bengali. There may be more than one subsidiary teacher, or in other words, instructor. Here in Bengali, Shiksha Guru, no, Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru. Instructor, teaching religious matters in general. It is written in the Bhagavata that being taught particular spiritual matters by 24 subsidiary teachers, one after another, the said Avadhuta attained success. In the master's life too, we do not find any lack of instructions for acquiring, acquainting him with the particular modes of spiritual practice for realizing particular truths. We have heard him on many occasions make a special mention of the names only of the Bhairavi Brahmani, the naked Totapuri, and the Muslim Govinda. Among other gurus, minor something, but these three has mentioned. The master mentioned but rarely the names of other teachers, though he learned from them the methods of spiritual practice according to other Hindu denominations. The only thing he mentioned was that he learned from other teachers the processes of spiritual practice according to other sects and attained perfection in their discipline in 3 days only. This is not possible for an ordinary sadhak in 3 days. He abstained from mentioning their names. But it is difficult to say now whether he forgot their names or they were not worth mentioning. But it is clear that he had contact with them for a very short time only. This is why they do not deserve special mention. Jatadhari Babaji also he has mentioned. But not that he taught him. In his company, Thakur got something, so it is not mentioned. He did not take any instruction from Jatadhari. The Bhairavi Brahmani. What is Bhairavi? A tantric sannyasini is called a Bhairavi. Bhairavi is a sannyasini according to the Tantra scriptures. That itself is called a Bhairavi. They assume that they are powers of Bhairava or Shiva. What is Bhairava? A form of Shiva who is the security guard like for Shiva. When you go to Kashi, you have to take the permission from Kal Bhairava. Then only you can go to Vishwanath. That is Bhairava. Bhairava is Shiva's forms, but in the world, they appear as security guards of Shiva. So Shiva is their husband for the Bhairavis. Anyway, so Bhairavi means Tantric Sannyasini. And she was from a Brahmin family. Her name Thakur rarely mentioned. Yogeshwari was her name perhaps. Somewhere it will come. And Guru's name is generally not taken. So Thakur calls his Guru Nangta and Bhairavi Brahmani. The Bhairavi Brahmani of all his subsidiary teachers stayed with the master the longest. But it is hard to tell how long. For before we took refuge at the holy feet of the master, she had left Dakshineshwar for good. The master afterwards met her at Kashi, where she was practicing austerities. The Brahmani assisted the master in sadhana. We have heard from the master that the Bhairavi Brahmani lived for a very long time at the Dakshineshwar temple and other places like Devamandal Ghat on the bank of the Ganga in the neighborhood. Near Dakshineshwar, just a little distance is Devamandal Ghat. And she should not stay in Dakshineshwar. Then people will think something. So Thakur made arrangement for her stay in Devamandal Ghat. From there, she used to come every day and talk to him. On the bank of the Ganga in the neighborhood, we are told that she made the master practice one after another the disciplines recorded in the 64 principal tantras. What is principal tantras? You understand? Books on tantra. 64 books are famous as the scriptures of the tantras. Now in every book, some more than one sadhanas are told. So all the sadhanas described in the 64 tantras, Thakur practiced with the help of Brahma. How many?
These are available nowadays.
Yes.
Books are they available?
Yes. Famous books. Famous books. And Sardhan Swamiji in the Sadhak Bhav has mentioned many names. No, if you want to search in the internet, you'll get. And let me tell you, I am searching that in Bengali. Tantras are not only 64. There are 3 places in India famous for Tantra. One is around 1 century में से Guwahati, Kamakhya. So East India, Assam, Bengal, Odisha, maybe Bihar, a little. But that is the area. Nepal also. Second is Himachal Pradesh. Third is Kerala. About Kerala, something funny I will tell you. Christians use that tantras. Anyway, and each has their own books. So the 64 tantras available in that. 3 names are given for those places. That I was searching. Vishnu Kranta is the name of the eastern area for tantras. This name we will get in Leelaprasanga. Then I thought, where are the other Krantas? I got in one shloka 3-4 days back. But one brahmachari, Archishwan, he gave me the other names and the places. Anyway, so 64 Vishnu Kranta Tantric books. That was available to the Brahmani and she taught him to that. Here that Vishnu Kranta's name is not mentioned, some other place. Now, other than this, we are told that she made the master practice one after another the disciplines recorded in the 64 principal tantras. We were also, that is available in Bengal, somewhere, everywhere. One Englishman, British, Sir Woodrow Wilson, his name was Arthur Avalon. But the British government gave the upadhi of Sir and with a different name, Woodrow Wilson. He has translated all those in English. Garland of Letters, Varnamala. The Shakti Worship, he has all the books available. Anyway, in the 64 principal tantra, we were also told that the Brahmani was well versed in the Vaishnava scriptures also and helped the master in certain matters at the time when he practiced Sakhi Bhav and other devotional moods. We are further told that greatly honored, she lived at Dakshineshwar for about 12 years. So her case he has taken first. Even when his sadhana period had long been over and her help had become unnecessary, she went with the master and Hriday for some time during that period even to Kamarpukur and lived there among the master's relatives. From that time on, the Holy Mother respected her like her own mother-in-law and called her mother. Holy Mother was never afraid of her actual mother-in-law. but she was afraid of biology. The Brahmani's experience in the devotional moods recorded in the Vaishnava scriptures. The Brahmani followed the sadhana according to the Vaishnavas and experienced a little of the bliss arising from the loving attitude toward God and as Sakhya, Vatsalya, etc. Overwhelmed with Vatsalya toward Vatsalya means taking God as child. Sakhya means as friend. Overwhelmed with Vatsalya toward the master, with butter in hand and with her clothes wet with tears, that bhava has come upon her. She used to cry out loudly, Gopal, Gopal. While she was staying at Dev Mandal Ghat in Haryada, outside Dakshineshwar, area's name is Haryada. And simultaneously, the master's mind at Dakshineshwar felt a sudden yearning to see the Brahmana. We are told that he covered the distance of 2 miles at a run, went to her like a child running to its mother, sat down near her and ate that butter. Besides, in red Varanasi silk cloth and ornaments collected by her from somewhere, with various kinds of eatables and enjoyable things in her hand, and singing songs, she sometimes used to come with the ladies of the neighborhood to the master at Dakshineshwar, feed him, and then return. The master said that she, with her disheveled hair and her agitated mood due to spiritual emotion, agitated means not restless, due to spiritual bhav. What could be the agitated? Aha, bhava vibhval. Agitated, vibhval. Vibhval means could not care about herself. That is vibhval. Overwhelmed, overpowered by that bhav. That is bhava vibhval. So, translation, correction.
Abhibhut also no.
Huh?
Abhibhut and bhav we were same.
अभिभूत she bhaver dwara abhibhut. She is not in herself. That is the meaning. She has lost control over herself. That is the meaning. Due to spiritual emotions, was taken to be none other than Yashoda herself, the queen of Nanda, grieving on account of the separation from Gopal. So much bhav should. Mathur was suspicious on seeing her beauty and accomplishment. Mathur, doubting person. The Brahmani possessed unusual beauty and accomplishments. We have heard from the master that Mathur Babu had some doubt about her character because became suspicious when he saw her grace and beauty and heard of her unrestricted traveling everywhere. So two extremes look alike. Wayward women may do like that, or highly spiritual people. A lady of the society will not do like that. Without a companion. Lady generally go with some companion. One day it is said, he went to the length of speaking out in derision. Where is your Bhairava, O Bhairavi? That means there will be some man. The Brahmani was then coming out of the temple of Kali after paying her obeisance to the deity. Although suddenly questioned thus, she did not feel at all embarrassed or angry, but calmly looked at Mathur and afterwards pointed her finger at the great god lying as a dead body under the feet of the mother and showed him to Mathur. Translation is literal here. Great god means Mahadev. Mahadev, great god. Shiva. You know the rahasya of this murti? You have seen in Dakshineshwar? Tell me what is the rahasya. Kali is the combined power of many devatas. To kill some deadly asura, she had taken that form. Now she has killed that asura. Then she is filled with what you call the spirit of destruction. Because she had to arouse that in her to kill the asura. खून चढ़ गया हम कहते हैं हिंदी में. Those who murder somebody, if somebody else come here, they will murder him also. And like that, she is dancing in the cremation ground. All the devatas are afraid who will approach her and how she will calm down. So they appeal to Shiva. What Shiva does, unnoticed by her, he goes to the cremation ground and lies as if he is a dead body. He is not dead, but Shiva. While dancing, unknowingly, she steps on her body. Both the feet on Shiva's chest. And when she becomes aware, she feels ashamed. That is that protruding tongue. And she looked in Shiva's eyes, and Shiva looked in her eyes. In photo, this cannot be seen. But if you go to Dakshineshwar or in Belur Mat Kali Puja, you will find in the image this very clearly. And this has been described by Nivedita, hearing from Swamiji. Anyway, so when Shiva looked in her eyes, she calmed down. That is the story. So, when she was asked, where is your Bhairava? She pointed out to that Shiva. I told you, Bhairavas are only forms of Shiva. And these Bhairavas are taking Shiva himself as their husband. So she pointed out to him. Mathur did not stop there. The suspicious worldly Mathur, first she did not speak, only pointed out. The suspicious worldly Mathur was also not a man to let the matter drop easily and said, but that Bhairava does not move. But to Achal. Why repeated the Brahman in a calm and serious voice? Have I become a Bhairavi? If I cannot make the immovable move, understand? That for Bhairavi, he is living. We see it as a stone image. Or Shiva himself appears like a Shiva, Achal. But she said, why I become a Bhairavi if I cannot make him move? So for her, he is a living presence. This is exactly Bhairavi. Ashamed and perplexed, Mathur stood speechless at the serious mood and answer of the Brahmani. Later on, his mind became free from that vicious suspicion as he began to be acquainted daily with her noble nature and innumerable good qualities. The Brahmani's antecedents. We have known from the master that the Bhairavi Brahmani was born somewhere in eastern Bengal, which is called Bangladesh these days. And everyone who saw her was impressed with the idea that she was undoubtedly a lady of a very respectable family. That movement, grace, everything tells that. She was indeed such. But we never heard from the master as to whose house she had illumined as a daughter and in what village she was born, nor do we know whether she ever shed lustre on anyone's house as a wife, or the reason why she felt detachment from the world and traveled from place to place as a sannyasini in her advanced age. Advanced age does not become old, eh? Proud, matured age. And none of us knows in the least where she acquired so much learning, nor where or when she made so much progress in sadhana. So these things are not known. The Brahmani, a spiritual aspirant of a high order. So that is the designation, Saradananda says, spiritual aspirant of high order. It needs no mention that the Brahmani was far advanced in sadhana. This is very evident from the fact that she was selected by Providence to be a spiritual teacher of the Master. We learn from the Master himself that even before she came to him, she could know by the power of yoga that in her lifetime she would have to help three men, the Master and two others, in their sadhana. And that as soon as she saw them in different places at different times, she recognized them and did help them. This leaves no doubt in our minds that she was an aspirant of a high order. The Brahman is yogic vision. She spoke of Chandra and Girija. These are Bengali names. Girija is not a lady. These Bengalis have a very peculiar habit of taking the first part of the name. Girija Kumar, Girija Prasad, Girija Prasanna, Girija Nandan, some name will be there. They say Girija. And many of our sadhus have feminine name. Bhavani Maharaj, Kali Maharaj. Anyway, generally they have a double name. And only first part becomes common. You want some joke?
Kiran Maharaj.
No. Huh?
Kiran Maharaj. Girija Maharaj, Kiran Maharaj.
Anyway, Kiran, but Kiran may be a masculine name. But in Punjab, Kiran is the name of ladies. Kiran Bedi is famous. Anyway, now I'm telling some other joke. We had a great Swami. Among the listeners, his disciples are there. Vipad Bhanjan Maharaj, you know, Swahananda. Great Swami Swahananda was in Hollywood for years together. Previously was in Delhi. His name is Vipad Bhanjan Maharaj. So is Vipad Maharaj. Anyway. So Chandra also maybe some Chandra Prasad, Chandra Kumar, and Girija to the master at her very first. Saradananda wrote in Bengali, he did not take care that Bengalis know this. At her very first meeting with him, my child, she said, I have already met both of them, and today I met you, whom I have been seeking all the time. I shall afterwards introduce them to you. And as a matter of fact, the Brahmani brought them afterwards to Dakshineshwar and introduced them to him. We were told by the master himself that they were both aspirants of a high order, but though they were far advanced on the path of sadhana, their desire of realizing God remained unfulfilled. They attained some special power of working miracles and were going to lose their way in that wood. Through Thakur's help, they got illumination. Om Sarvadharma Sthapakastam Sarvadharma Swarupakaha Acharyana Mahacharyo Ramakrishna Te Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Tat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.